Welcome to Closers. Today's show is packed with action. We've got big contract extension news for some of the young stars in baseball, the controversy over the new bat that's just shaking up the league, and one AL player has having a really rough start. But is there more to the story? Plus, we're unveiling this week's Mount Rushmore. Stay tuned, you won't want to miss this one. We've got a great one for you today, guys. I am super excited. Let's get to it. Let's bring in the only man in Major League history with exactly 69 saves. Let's bring in Mr. 69, David Ardsma. Ards, what's going on, buddy?
What is going on, James, everybody? Yes, Mr. 69 saves. Yeah, how you doing, James?
I'm doing okay. I've had an interesting week, but not as interesting as the first full week of Major League Baseball. How pumped are you? Because I'm just in heaven, especially after last night's Mets win.
Yes, Mets winning baseball games is a good thing for you. Baseball heaven is upon us. So you have to love Major League Baseball the first part of the season. The problem is like the first part of the season too. It's so early. Storylines are so messed up. Like things happen and everybody takes like these like jump quick takes on everything, and everybody's the best team or the worst team, or someone's going to win the MVP, or someone's going to win the Cy Young, or they suck. You got to cut them. It's always that first week is always interesting.
Yeah, as of the time of us recording right now, the Dodgers are 7-0 and the Atlanta Braves are 0-7. So obviously the Braves will not win a single game all year, and the Dodgers will go undefeated. Is that correct?
Without a doubt. Actually, the Dodgers are 8-0.
8-0. Forgive me. I'm sorry. I jumped the
Padres are 7-0.
Well, you know, I don't want to get into it too deep, but man, Shohei Ohtani, the guy he's just made for the big stage. Walk-off home run to give the Dodgers their 8th win.
Yeah, what are you going to do, right? It's so hard because there's no outs in the 9th. He comes up to the plate. You want to put him on base. Like, I don't want to pitch to him, but what are you going to do then? Pitch to Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar after that, and you're putting the winning run on base. You have to pitch to him. First pitch, just absolutely annihilated another like walk-off. It's Ohtani and the Dodgers, they're ridiculous. But the thing about it, they haven't scored more than 7 runs all season. And so it's a really interesting, like they're playing great baseball. They're pitching very well. They're hitting the ball well. They're not leading the league in hitting and all that stuff, but they're playing very good, complete baseball, not making a whole lot of errors, not many mistakes, right? And so they're playing really good baseball. And that's the thing I was expecting out of them all year is just really good baseball. They're not going to blow you away on either side of the ball, but they've been pitching really well. And then they've come behind a couple times and have won good baseball games.
Yep. And you know what Ohtani didn't have when he hit that home run?
What?
Those torpedo bats, did he?
No. Doesn't need it.
Doesn't need it. Dave, you're a former Major League player. Tell me about these torpedo bats. Tell me what you think about this. Is this much ado about nothing? Because it's just crazy how much this has like dominated the baseball news world.
Has it dominated the news cycle too much? Yes. Without a doubt. Is it much ado about nothing? No. I mean, there's a lot to do here. It's a very interesting innovation. So as you see the bat, the top bat is the torpedo bat, the bottom bat's regular bat. One thing that you have to understand is this is just another step up in Major League Baseball. So if you haven't heard the whole story, the Yankees had hired an MIT, basically professor or whatever, somebody who studied graduate, not just a graduate, like a whatever professor, I don't know, whatever, somebody out of MIT who's really smart. So he understands physics, understands swinging a baseball bat and hitting a baseball, what that means. He wanted to be a baseball coach. They got him in the organization. He did a study in the past on Anthony Volpe. They all made it sound at the beginning of the year like as if it was like just happened this year. They'd done a study in the past on Anthony Volpe and trying to understand why he's like just not hitting the ball as well as he should. What he had concluded is if you change the bat, if you move the middle of the bat, like where you're supposed to hit the ball, down just a little bit more towards the label, and you can see it right there, a little bit towards the label. So that's the actual bigger, better, meatier part of the bat to hit the ball. He will be a much better hitter than what he has been in the past. So basically, he gets jammed a little bit. Just a little bit. And that's the big thing as pitching. You want to move pitching in and out, move it off the end of the bat, inside part of the bat. What he does is consistently his swing, it jams just a little bit. So what they said is use this bat with a little bit more wood in that centerpiece. It's still qualifies under all major league rules, and you will hit the ball better. And he has, and he did. And then what we're starting to see is a whole bunch of guys now seeing and jumping all over and thinking, oh my God, every home run they've hit is because of this torpedo bat. And then the media just took it and ran with it, and it's everywhere. And Will Clark's on it, and Dave Portnoy's jumping in, and everyone everywhere is talking all about it. But at the end of the day, let's get down to the real thing about it. It's an adjustment for hitters that don't hit the ball exactly where everybody else hits it. Perfect. There's no problem with that. Like, we have bats that are weighted a little heavier on the end of the bat, bats that are weighted a little heavier towards the handle of the bat. And so it's just an adjustment of the bat within the rules for guys to hit it. Like, it's so funny. I saw on MLB Network, on MLB.com, they talked about why isn't Aaron Judge using this bat? Wouldn't he be a better hitter if he was using this bat? No, he'd be a worse hitter. He'd be a worse hitter. Because the problem is he doesn't hit the ball there. He hits the ball perfectly square where you should, and he has a lot of great results because of that. This is not a end all be all for every hitter in baseball. That's the problem, is people didn't explain this is only for hitters that hit the ball in this area more often, not for everybody. Not everybody hits the ball like that. A lot of guys square it up. A lot of guys hit it all more on the end. The problem, and so they try to have an extended barrels and stuff like that. I saw an interview by somebody, and they're talking about they used to have extended barrels because they used to hit the ball at the end, so it moved their barrel out a little bit. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, it's a great adjustment. It's finally seeing an adjustment by hitters versus pitchers, and them adjusting to their own personal swings. It's like having a golf club, changing the length, changing the weight, changing where the sweet spot is on the club, and then hitting. Any PGA pro will tell you their club is not like everybody else's club. It is different. It is very specific to them. We've always just had bats that are really just generic. Now they're just making a little adjustments. I love it. I love the change in the game. It's just media and personalities don't take the moment to just understand it and educate themselves on it.
I'm so glad you brought up the golf thing, because you're 100% correct. If you have the ability to change your equipment so it can suit your game, why not? I mean, you and I were both golfers. We've played golf before. I've seen your driver. Your driver has lead tape on it, so that way you have a little more weight on the front of it so that you can hit the ball farther. I've had my driver adjusted so it has a different amount of spin and it has a lower trajectory so I can get my ball going farther. There's nothing wrong with that. And I can't stand the fact that any of these pundits are going to say that it's bad for the game. It's just an adjustment.
It's great for the game. That's the thing about it. It's great for the game. And stop saying, like, it's a Jeff Fry idiot on X talking about how, like, you're rewarding, or Will Clark even on there was talking about we're rewarding bad swings. No, we're just taking a good swing where we call it a bad swing because you don't hit it like everybody else.
Right.
It's just a different swing. And don't get me wrong, like, yeah, that might be a bad swing, but then make it a bad swing as a pitcher by making them hit it where the normal barrel would be. And then it ends up being a bad hit ball. Like, what I want to see, and I have not seen this yet, and I haven't done the research on it yet. I want to see exit velos of these guys that are using the torpedo bat this year versus last year when they weren't using it. And I want to see how their numbers are actually affecting, because to me, everyone talks about the Yankees and Bellinger was using it, Chisholm was using it, Volpe was using it, and oh my God, they're going crazy. At the end of the day, like, maybe it was just the team they're playing, and the Brewers really sucked, and maybe it was something like that. Like, because we go out, Zach Gallen struck out 13 guys yesterday, against the Yankees, and did an incredible job of pitching. Maybe it's just the bad pitching and throwing it to their sweet spot, and that's their sweet spot now. So if I'm seeing somebody with a torpedo bat, I'm not pitching them in. I'm pitching them away. Yeah. I'm pitching them away, trying to get them to hit off the end of the bat or more towards the normal barrel, and then it's a bad hit ball.
As far as I'm concerned, this is no different than any pitcher changing his arm slot.
Yeah.
It's just you're making a modification. Granted, it's a modification to equipment rather than your body, but if you can make a modification that's within the rules, why not?
Exactly.
Now, you mentioned Jazz Chisholm and Dave Portnoy. I find it absolutely ridiculous that this Red Sox fan, Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports, is sitting there giving Jazz Chisholm all this grief on X. But I am a little worried about Jazz, not because I think, anybody dislikes him or anything, but do you want to be the guy that Barstool is going after all year. You know that Barstool has so many guys that work under Portnoy and just do whatever he says, and they can just attack him all year. Would you just keep quiet if you were Jazz?
That's the thing to me is he needs to understand to just stay quiet. Just let it be. Just let it happen. I wish if I was the Yankees that nobody had known that we were using these bats and let people talk. Let them talk. I am not taking on Barstool because the thing about it, they don't care. And they make their money by not caring about you personally, destroying you. Like they will trash you, and they'll create an entire segments and conversations about trashing you and then people defending you. That's them. That's what they want. And Barstool's really good at it, and they've become the best at getting personal and attacking over something that's like nothing. And so just stay back. Like there's no point. Like why do you care so much what Dave Portnoy says?
Yeah.
Dave Portnoy can say whatever he wants. He's a big Red Sox fan. He's going to love it. He's going to hate it or whatever he's want to do. The problem is there's going to be Red Sox players using the bat. There's going to be Red Sox players that go out there, use the torpedo bat because this works to their swing. My bigger issue is like everybody's out there trying to get their favorite player to use the torpedo bat. All these guys are signing up for the torpedo bat. They're trying to get it in when that doesn't necessarily make their swing better. Like that's not their swing. Their swing just sucks in general. It's not necessarily the bat. No, that's obviously just kidding. But I think a lot of guys are jumping on the bandwagon and not understanding how their swing works and if this would actually help their swing or not.
What are you thinking about all this drama with Giancarlo, formerly Mike Stanton? And there were some people saying, and maybe he said it a little bit, that this affected his elbows, and this is why he has tennis elbow, and now he's backing off of that. What do you make of all that?
It's really interesting because he said, and I quote, bat adjustments is what he's blaming for his elbow issues. Bat adjustments. Last year, he was using the torpedo bat. He had a great year. Well, that's when he hurt his elbows, and he was claiming that's when all the adjustments happened. What adjustments are we talking about? Why do we call bat adjustments when it's a new bat? I 100% believe he was saying, without saying, that there was something to do with the torpedo bat. That him swinging that bat, changing how he swings for that bat, helped his numbers, hurt his elbows. And you don't use the bat adjustments. That's a very interesting term to use. It's a very specific term to use when you change your bat.
Right.
And to me, I think there's without a doubt a link there. They'll never talk about it. They'll never actually guarantee a link there because he's still going to try using him because he saw the numbers. You're not going to blame the bat on your elbows at the same time. You do know something changed, and it was the only thing that changed was the bat. So there's some, you didn't say stance adjustments, hands adjustments. You didn't say anything like that or like swing adjustments, bat adjustments. And you used a different bat. You used the torpedo bat. So to me, I think without a doubt, the torpedo bat had a lot to do with this and a lot to play with it.
The torpedo bat of pitching is Top Velocity Pro. You want to get better at pitching. You don't need a torpedo bat. You don't need a gimmick. You need Mr. 69, David Ardsma. DA, take it away.
Top Velocity Pro, man. Yeah, all these bats are giving these guys help for what they need, their specific swings. Let's get your pitching locked in, your throwing locked in. Go to topvelocitypro.com. Go to Top Velocity Pro, or you can even see my DA. Oh, right, the email there. DA at topvelo.city, topvelocitypro.com. You can find me on all socials. Send me a message. We'll break down your pitching, we'll break down your throwing, and we will get you right and get you the best you've ever been. Top Velocity Pro.
How was my little segue there? Did I do a good job?
That's solid.
Should I get a contract extension from Man Cave Sports, sort of like Garrett Crochet got?
Yo, how about that? Great contract extension.
How do you like that? Double. See what I did there? Beautiful. So Garrett Crochet, the Red Sox new ace, the guy that they traded for in the offseason, 6 years, $170 million. Before I give you my thoughts, David, what did you think when you saw this?
$170 million. I'm going to say this. He is a talent. He is a very, very good pitcher. He's had a great start. He must have really impressed the front office, really impressed the pitching staff, really impressed everybody. Great money for him. Lock it in. When you're making that big trade, they're going to have to lock him in. I don't think he's going to last. You don't go from 12 innings or 24 innings or whatever total in minor leagues and big leagues in 2023 to 146 innings and then all of a sudden going to be healthy the next year. I just don't think physically he's going to be able to last. But again, the numbers show that he's worth the money.
The numbers show that he's worth the money. He's a great pitcher. My problem is, why do it now? You still had a couple more years of control for Garrett Crochet, and you know that pitchers are by far the most volatile players in all of baseball. They very rarely stay healthy. Take a look at Jacob deGrom. He got a very similar contract to what deGrom got, and deGrom has pitched, what, once so far this year? He hasn't pitched in a year and a half until now. I just don't like giving pitchers long-term deals early because they just don't last.
I don't mind this one though. I don't mind what he was only going to be. He was going to be he was arbitration eligible next year. So the amount of money, yes, you still had him for a couple of years, but you weren't going to get him for anything cheaper. It was just going to cost you more and more. I don't mind this one. And again, I don't want to compare it at all to Jacob deGrom. deGrom, much older, different spot. I at 25, I think this is the right move. This is the right amount of money to lock him up. I just look at this and look at the injury history and just go, dude, there's a giant red flag. Everybody would tell you it's a red flag. Just wait, at least wait this year out and then see where he's at. Just because there's so many red flags there, when we throw how little pitches that he has thrown, then you just throw a ton. I mean, he threw 54 in 2021. He was hurt in 22. In 23 through 24, he threw 12 in the big leagues. I think it was another 12 in the minors. And then he goes to 146 innings. It screams injury. And to me, that's my only thing about it is the injury. It's screaming injury. It's not like he sat there and he's built up 90 to 120 to 146 to 180 innings, and then you sign him. This dude has barely played. He had one good year and he had a good start. There's talent there, without a doubt. There's talent, but there's a lot of injuries already.
Does this remind you at all of another pitcher that the Red Sox had that they got from the White Sox that ended up winning the NL Cy Young last year?
Well, yeah, but Sale was much older and pitched really well for the Sox for a bit.
But again, they paid him a whole lot of money. They didn't get their money's worth. And that's all I'm saying. If you don't know if you're going to get your money's worth, why not wait 2 years? Yeah, it'll cost you a little more later, but it could cost you a hell of a lot less if this guy ends up flaming out and becomes Matt Harvey.
Yeah, I would have. I would have waited this year. I would have let him pitch this year and seen where we're at. Because then let's say something happens, then you could have signed him. Even if he has a good year, you're not going to sign him for a whole lot more than that.
No, that's why it was basically, you didn't get him for a great deal. You got him for basically market value. So if you're going to pay him market value, wait a couple of years and give him market value then. That's all I'm saying. All right. The next guy who got a contract extension, I have some questions about this one. We'll go to San Diego. Jackson Merrill, the guy who came in second in Rookie of the Year voting in the National League last year. I love this guy. What do you think about this extension?
It was 9-year, 135, right?
Correct.
I think Jackson. I think this is a great deal. I love it. I think it was a great deal all around. I think he's a talent. I think he very easily. I actually had money on him on winning the Rookie of the Year. I didn't know people would get behind Skeens quite as much. Not enough innings, but again, Skeens deserved it as well. Incredible talent. I think this is a great sign. It's not the amount of money is good. It's great on both sides. I think Jackson, if he would have waited, probably could have gotten more. At the same time, who am I to argue, dude? It's a $135 million in your pocket, and for 9 years, you're going to be 30 when you're coming off this contract.
It's a great deal for him. It's a great deal for the Padres because they're paying a little less value. But I do worry a little bit about signing a player after his rookie year. And, Yeah, we've seen some great deals where teams have locked up their players early. Acuna, you talk about Bobby Witt, you go back to Evan Longoria, and it's been done for a while. I just sometimes I worry about players who have that big first year. I personally, if I was a GM, I wouldn't sign anybody to a long-term extension unless they've had 1,500 at bats. I want to see how are they going to deal with their sophomore slump, and then what are they going to do in year 3 before I give them that long-term deal. I know it's going to probably cost me an extra 30, 40 million, but I think it's a better bet. Do you agree or disagree?
I disagree on a couple things because I think when you understand, when you're in the clubhouse every day and you're seeing somebody work, you're seeing their work, you're seeing their clubhouse leadership, you're seeing how they handle themselves, you understand the man and the finances of different places. You have to view finances in different organizations at different times, and you have to take chances like this. This is what the Rays did with all their players when they started winning. When they saw the talent early, they grabbed them and signed them. And this is what teams like San Diego need to do. They can't keep living on signing a free agent after they've played their rookie contracts out, basically their rookie contracts out,
Right.
and go through arbitration and then sign them for $400 million. You can't keep doing that. You can't. They can't financially sustain. It's not sustainable without signing it. This is what Major League Baseball needs, is to signing these players like this. This is what the Blue Jays should have done 6 years ago. This is what blows my mind. And the Red Sox signing, one of their prospects, and hasn't even touched the big leagues yet, for $60 million. Like, this is what the Blue Jays should have done with Vladdy. And this is, I love when teams do this. Don't wait, because when you wait, it's not going to cost you an extra $20-30 million. It's going to ask, at these rates, it's going to cost you an extra $100 million,
Right.
even by waiting a couple of years. Because if the dude goes out and decides another year like he did last year, he's, this is a $230 million contract.
Right. Just hopefully he doesn't become Wander Franco. I just, you don't want to sign a guy to that.
But Wander Franco, but they didn't lose any money on the deal. And Wander Franco was a stud. And Wander Franco was on the road that everybody wanted him to. And then he obviously did his stuff personally. But Wander Franco didn't cost the Rays any money when you do that. Like, you don't have to keep paying the dude when you go and go to jail. You're not paying him his money. And so that's a beautiful part. To me, I am much more comfortable paying these guys than paying other guys. My light is like tweaking out. See that?
Yeah, you're a little tweaky. All right. Finally, last guy that I want to talk about that had a major contract extension. I know you're going to love this because I absolutely love this one. I got no beef with this one. Ketel Marte, Arizona Diamondbacks, gets 6 years, 116.5.
Love it. Great deal. Incredible deal. Again, this is one of those deals you have to do. The only thing I have is, like, everything about the deal is great. He's 31. That's the only problem I have is he's just come on so late in his career and so good at this point. Is it too late to, what I mean?
They just added, in essence, they just added like 65 mil to what it was. It's not that much more. And to lock him up until 34, I think, I'm not 100% sure. Something like that, I'm fine with it. He's not going to decline. This is a great deal to me. I got no qualms.
The only thing I didn't see. So how many years is it?
So total, 28. It's 6 years, 116.5.
I'm okay with that. I love the deal. It's a great deal. Keep him here. He needs to be a Diamondback. Everyone loves him here. He played amazing last year, had a great year, and he's gotten better. He had an incredible 2019, but he's been he's gotten better over the last couple of years too. And like 22, 23, 24 had just a phenomenal year last year. And that's the thing. And he's jumping out to a great start this year. Obviously that doesn't really matter compared to like last year determined the money. And so I love everything about the deal. I want this guy to be a Diamondback forever. It's just, maybe towards the end of the contract, maybe you're going to see some decline, but I love it. It's a great deal for the Diamondbacks. Great deal for Cartel.
All right. Up next, I want to go back to Boston. Rafael Devers. This boy has started off the season badly. He started off 0 for 19 with 15 strikeouts. You tell me, how important is psyche when you are Rafael Devers? Because You've had to change everything about the way that you work. Now you are not the third baseman anymore. Now you're the DH. You're sitting around for a lot of the game. I don't think I could do that. Have you seen this situation before where guys move to a DH spot and how they react and their psyche? We know baseball is a lot about psychology.
Absolutely, 100%. One of the toughest things to do is go from an everyday player to a DH role, because you're sitting around, you're standing around, you're watching a baseball game, and then all of a sudden you have to go hit instead of actually getting involved in the game, even though we'd be committing errors and being a horrible infielder. So it does change a lot of things. And I know I'm giving them shit about being a bad infielder, but at the end of the day, it does change a lot of things about like just your prep and just being in the flow of a baseball game. And when you take somebody out of it, that does change a lot of it. And when you take somebody out of it who doesn't want to get taken out of it, he did not plan on getting taken out of it. He was not wanting to. He came into spring training with a big chip on his shoulder, telling him, no, I'm the third baseman. I'm the third baseman. I'm the third baseman. Like, no, you're not the third baseman. Like, you're the worst third baseman in the league. And we got one of the best third basemen in the league coming here. And so that's the thing about it. And he was mentally out of it the moment they like signed Bregman. The moment they brought Bregman in, the moment they started talking to Devers about it, he was mentally out of it. I think that has a lot more to do with anything. I was watching MLB Network, and they were trying to like look at his swing timing and all this stuff, and he's not ready on this one swing compared to last year on that one swing. No, it's just mental, and everything then becomes physical. It started mental, goes to physical. He was a mess about the whole role change. He was a mess about like bringing somebody in. He said, yes, I'll be your DH. He didn't want to be the DH. And then he goes in the season just like it. And they're trying to say his last couple swings of this last season. Now this season, like, stop. Like, that was 7 months ago, whatever it was. It had nothing to do with the first couple swings this year. They're out of the playoffs and stuff like that. There's so much more to go into it. He went into this year in a horrible mental spot, and he's continued to be in a horrible mental spot.
There are some people, not me, but there are some people saying that he's doing this on purpose because the Red Sox screwed with him. He's got his money. Now, here's the thing. I can understand why Devers is pissed off. If you're the guy who says, guess what? You're a mess of an organization right now, which they were when he signed his extension. You said, okay, you want me to be your guy. You're going to make me the highest paid player. I'm the third baseman. And then all of a sudden, without even asking me, you go and you sign a great player who has my spot, and I'm the face of the organization. I'm not saying that he's doing it on purpose, but as you know, I'm a vindictive son of a bitch. I might have done that if I was him. I might have said,
the people who think that aren't big leaguers. You don't have it's not nothing against you, James, but you don't have the mental capacity to be a Major League Baseball player and handle 162, and somebody gets your job and they move somebody up above you. You'd be one of the guys, like, unless you got over that, and you would have to learn to get over that, you won't make the big leagues. Right. That's the thing about it, is like all these people that say those sort of things aren't major league players. They would never mentally be able to handle 162 over however many years, fighting for your food, coming up. I think what is he? He's Dominican, fighting through the Dominican, being young, fighting his way up through an organization, getting guys getting sent up over him, other players leaving, you being the face. Like, this is it's a hurdle. And that's the thing. Like, there's no chance he's doing it on purpose, but I guarantee you he was being a little bitch about it in spring training. And then and that's what happens. The moment you take that mentally out of it and you start being a little bitch about it, like, you're going to then continue that mindset into the season. It's all mindset. And that's the problem, is he's not doing it on purpose. And if anybody thinks that, they're an idiot. Yeah. You're a Major League Baseball player. You get paid to be a Major League Baseball player. And what's he going to do? Play himself out of starting? Like, what's the end game with that? That's my only thing about that, is what's the end game? Oh, he's going to play so bad that the team puts him into the role he wants to be in? Like, what if Bregman plays good? Like,
I have 2 words for you. You ready? Anthony Rendon.
Yeah, like, you're just going to get, like, they're just going to release you. Like, what? Oh, great. They're going to bench you. They're going to put you on the DL, so then you're not playing at all because you were being vindictive. Like, guys will be pissed. the difference with Major League Baseball players, when they get pissed, they play better, or they get pissed, they focus. Some guys, when they get pissed, they get pissy. But they're not going to play bad just to try to prove a point. Because to what? Like, you're proving that the team thinks you're bad? Like, great, good job. Like, really killed it.
Here's the problem. The problem is, at the end of the day, no matter what he does, and again, we're not implying that he's actually phoning it in. Okay, I don't want anybody to watch this and say, "Oh,
some people have." Some people
yeah,
have.
Some people have said it. He's still going to get paid no matter what he does. If he sits there, gains all the weight in the world, like who was the third baseman that they had, the Kung Fu Panda?
Oh yeah, Sandoval.
Sandoval. He could become Sandoval, eat his way out of the league, have an attitude his way out of the league. He's still going to get paid. So this is going to lead me to my next question for you. And we didn't have this on the rundown, but Jurickson Profar of the Atlanta Braves got suspended for PEDs. There needs to be some sort of language in these contracts that allow teams to void them a lot easier than they are.
No. Why
no?
I will fight you. You continue what you want to say. Hard no.
So if you're a guy who's coming off a career year like Jurickson Profar, and now we found out it's probably because he had PEDs and I bought something under false pretenses, I'm not allowed to return to sender?
They're not getting the money.
Okay, he's not while he's suspended, but if he's crap now after he comes back from suspension because he's off the juice, and I still have 2.5 years of paying this guy, that's not what I signed up for.
This is the hardest of hard no's ever.
Really?
Hardest of hard no's. Never once in a. So you want to know this? Here you go. Ready? So who controls these players' food?
The teams. They bring in. Yeah.
So the team who wants to get out of a contract controls their food, right?
Right.
They control their food. They make their food for them every single day. So the team wants to get out of a bad contract.
Mm-hmm.
And it's $200 million might be on the line.
Okay.
And they control what you put in your body.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I know what you're saying.
A whole lot of money and a whole lot of reasons to put something in somebody's food when they control that food every single day. They control what supplements they put in. They control, like, the trainer just gives you something and you drink it because that's what they've always done every single day. The pre-workout, post-workout, everything, like everything you do, the team basically control. Like, here you go. Here, hey, they walk up, say, hey, can I get a whatever sandwich? Yeah, done. Here you go.
That's a good.
You want to get out of a $200 million contract? Done. You're out of that contract really quick. Because that's the problem, is when you give the team that type of control. When the team, I would say this, if the team's going to enter a contract with somebody, they need to do a better job of understanding what type of player they're getting in contract with.
Right. Okay. Listen,
if there's questions about it, they can do a drug test. Here's the thing. That's the drug test. Like, he was taking drug tests all last year when he hit 280, had 24 home runs and doing whatever. Like, he's hit 20 home runs in the past. He had 24. Okay. Not a crazy number jump, but they were drug testing him last year. That's the thing, is like, you have to trust Major League Baseball drug testing. We can look at all those numbers last year and say, yes, there was a jump and there was an increase without a doubt. Throughout the year, Major League Baseball is testing these guys, and you don't know when the test is coming by, and they're checking it. Maybe they can test more. That's upon that. But you got to look at the numbers. Those numbers were legit, and without a doubt, he could have taken something in the off season because he wasn't feeling good or something, and he wanted to continue that. But whatever he took would have shown up in those drug tests during the year. It would have shown up, and throughout the year. And so that's the thing about it, is we can do more testing, but there's you can't drug test 26 guys every single day.
It's not even about PEDs and being able to void out a contract for PEDs. It's just the guys that don't want to be there. There's got to be some way to get out of a contract.
Never signed them. It's not hard to do a little bit of research.
What about Anthony Rendon?
The difference is, like, okay, you signed him, but you knew what you were getting, and you like the Anthony Rendon was an incredible baseball player.
Yes, he was.
Ridiculous numbers. And they signed him, and he was worth every single penny for what he had done. The problem, though, is it would have taken you 10 minutes to talk to ex-players, guys that played with him, and like, all right, like, What's a bad attitude is you don't necessarily know when somebody has a career threatening injury, how they're going to react to it, and that they're just going to shut down mentally. And also, like, he's had so many injuries, that shit compounds, right? It compounds over time and it makes your mental stability worse. And it's like, then everyone tells you need to quit, you need to quit, quit. Like, why do I want to show up to the ballpark every day when no one wants me here anyways? Like, why do I want to be here? Like, why is you'll lose love for baseball pretty quick when everyone tells you you don't love baseball? What if he did love baseball? He just showed it in a different way than everybody else, where he didn't come to the ballpark with a giant smile saying, I'm here, let's go. What if he just like showed up and just loved it? Like, right. And like that to me over time can change things without a doubt. The problem is the team signed him. They knew what they were getting into. You're not expecting all the injuries to happen. And without a doubt, even if he doesn't want to be there, dude, I've known plenty of Major League Baseball players that don't want to necessarily be there, but they're healthy and they play good. And that's the thing, is like Rendon might not want to be there any day, but if he's healthy, he plays good. He's a good baseball player. Even if right now, if he was healthy, he'd be a good baseball player. He's just not healthy ever.
Or he says he's not healthy. And that's the thing that worries me.
Okay. He's not healthy.
All right. You know who was healthy? Everybody that showed up on this week's Mount Rushmore. David, it must piss you off so much when you see these statues with those beautiful granite hairlines.
Right. Oh, they look perfect. They look like amazing.
So this week we are talking about the Kansas City Royals. Who is your first?
Royals with cheese.
A Royale with cheese. Who's got the cheese first for you, buddy?
The cheese first. I mean, I'm going to go right out of the gate. The greatest Royal ever, George Brett.
Oh, I'm with you. George Brett, just what a beast. You look at it. He was like Pete Rose's kind of tenacity with just, I think he's a better player than Pete Rose. I would have taken him over Pete Rose any day, but he had that kind of hustle, that kind of evilness in him. Not a bad evil, but you look at his face when they called him out when he had too much pine tar on the bat, and that is not the kind of man that you want to mess with.
No, without a doubt. I mean, he played 21 seasons for the Royals, almost 1,600 RBIs, 217 home runs, 305 batting average, 3 batting titles, led the league in hits and triples 3 different times, Silver Sluggers, Gold Gloves, MVP 1980. Just incredible ball player. Everybody won. George Brett's awesome.
When you hear George Brett, who do you think of? Who's his bizarro George Brett?
What do you mean his bizarro?
Who is the same but opposite, like Superman and Bizarro Superman? All right, let me just say this. When I think of George Brett, I immediately think of Mike Schmidt. I don't know why, same position, same era, but one just looked nice and the other looked grumpy.
I never really that's the thing, is I knew more of George Brett than I knew of Mike Schmidt. I didn't really follow Schmidt too much. And so I will take your advice on that. I know how good of a ball player Schmidt was, but he wasn't a guy that I got to watch every day.
Yeah, Mike Schmidt just reminded me like he would be hanging out with Bob Ross. He got that big mustache. He looked like he was 45 at the age of 20, which is just weird. I don't know if it's the mustache, but yeah, I think of George Brett. I think about Mike Schmidt all the time because they were so similar. Both Hall of Famers, both played same era, both third basemen. All right, moving on. Your next player on your list is Kevin Appier. Why Kevin Appier?
Well, the list gets pretty thin pretty quick.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the list gets, after George Brett, the list gets really thin. Again, this is probably the in my opinion, probably the next best, probably the best pitcher to ever don the Royals uniform. He had a 3.49 ERA. I mean, pitched over 1,800 innings for the Royals, 115 wins, was an all-star, ERA title. Pitched over 200 innings 7 times for the Royals. I mean, again, that's incredible numbers, incredible stuff. 115 wins isn't something that you walk away with and go, oh my God. But at the end of the day, he was a great pitcher for what he was. Did a wonderful job with the Royals. But he's the best of what they are.
Okay. Well, I will say that the next player on your Mount Rushmore is a better pitcher, having seen them both. I would have taken Brett Saberhagen over Appier.
Well, here's the thing about it is, yeah, you might have taken him over him, and I completely understand. And he won a Cy Young. He won Cy Young in 85, 89, won the ERA title. But at the end of the day, like Apier ended up having more WAR, more wins. Around the numbers were roughly the same. Maybe saves was a little bit better. I think Saberhagen might have just had a little bit more of a name under him, but getting that Cy Young and having the better year. But I think Apier probably had a better career. Obviously 85 during that World Series, had a great run. Just that's the thing about it, is like they're both on the Rushmore. But I think Apier, I don't know, maybe Apier just had better numbers. I think Saberhagen might have had just the better name that everybody kind of like gravitated, probably had the attitude and the name that everyone kind of gravitated towards.
The only reason why you put Kevin Apier above Saberhagen is because he gave up that bomb to Steve Nebraska when Nebraska was trying out for the New York Yankees.
That's the thing about it. That's so funny. Like I don't even seen the movie.
You've never seen The Scout?
No, it's still horrible.
Can you please watch it? How can you say it's horrible if you haven't watched it?
Because I've seen parts.
No,
and I've listened to you talk about it. It's so bad.
No.
And the name's Steve Nebraska. We're good.
Great movie. Most underrated baseball movie of all time. He found Kong. Really, that's the reason why I love Ohtani so much, because somebody found Kong. He's Kong. Anyhow, the next guy on the Mount Rushmore.
So again, I want to separate guys, different generations, try and do my best. Obviously, we get some 80s players. That's when they had like some of their prime years with the Brett Apier or Saberhagen. But now the best player on the team currently, as far as on this list, minus one dude that we're going to talk about, but the best on the list, and he's on the team currently, Salvador Perez.
Guy's an absolute beast. You think about Salvador Perez. What can't he do? Great hitter,
right?
Great defender. You never hear a peep out of him. He's never caused any problems. I mean, you see the picture of him right now. He's got the C on his chest for a reason. The C is not because you're the best player. It's because you're the best leader.
Yep. 8 All-Stars, 5 Gold Gloves, 4 Silver Sluggers, won the World Series, was MVP during that playoff run. Just incredible. And here's the thing is like keeps getting like staying really good. And think about it is like one thing we look at WAR is a great number to start at with making these lists, because it's just how much contribution did you have for that team. And then it's a great place to start. I separate it, then go try to separate by generation and try to like impact on the team itself, because you might not have a great WAR, but you had a great you won the World Series and you were the part of it, whatever. He's been leading this pitching staff for years and years and years. And during his time there, ups and downs, but I'll tell you what, the one solid has been him, and the one consistent. The reason the team is good right now, personally, is because of him and him leading that pitching staff last year and just staying that positive mindset guy. That's like, we got this no matter what team we're throwing out there. And the reason they were so good last year is because of him, and the reason they're going to be good this year is because of him.
And how many years has he been in the league now? Do you have that?
Since 13, I want to say.
Think about
2011. So we're looking at 14 years.
14, 15 years. This dude is still catching almost every day, and he's still putting up numbers. I mean, I don't like signing catchers to long-term extensions because they usually fall off a cliff real quick, but this guy's the outlier.
Without a doubt.
He's just so good. All right, your first man out.
So I love this because it pisses you off so much. I got two first men out.
No, I don't have a problem with that.
Zach Greinke and Willie Wilson. The problem is with Willie Wilson is the reason I didn't really throw him in there is because you already had so many guys from the 80s. And we had, Brett was definitely better. Apier and Saberhagen were arguably better. They might have been all around the same stuff, but a couple pitchers, couple hitter, different generations. But like, there's no way Willie Wilson was the same on those levels as maybe those guys. He was a very good player, obviously very fast. This good overall. Nothing that really jumped out. 1 year led the league with 83 stolen bases. stole more than 40. I think it was like 5 times, 6 times. Again, but that was in a time when people would have like crazy high stolen bases, like Vince Coleman and stuff had incredible high stolen bases. So it wasn't unheard of to steal 40 like it is now. It's a big deal now. Back then, it wasn't as big of a deal. You were just fast leadoff guy. And so great ball player, but I'd say a step behind Sabes and maybe Apier. And again, when you had a guy like George Brett in that lineup through the whole of his career, George Brett's going to get a little bit of that.
All right, I'm going to ask you the stupidest question in the history of the world. Which player on the Royals right now could possibly be on the Mount Rushmore?
Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah, no
shit.
If
he just keeps the pace, and you'll be on this list like in like 4 years.
If he keeps the pace, he's going to be a top 10 player of all time. He's that good. His pace is that good. All right. The only thing I'm going to give you grief about, and not even grief, I'm going to ask you a question, because when I think about the Kansas City Royals, yes, I think about George Brett. First name that pops in my head. Second player to pop in my head is usually Saberhagen. Let me show you who should be on the Mount Rushmore. This guy right here.
Bo? No.
Yes. He means that much to the history of the Royals.
Oh
I know his numbers aren't there, but when you think of the Royals, there are still people walking around with Royals powder blue Bo Jackson jerseys. He means that much to the organization.
So here's the thing. He doesn't mean it doesn't to me, just because people are wearing the jersey doesn't mean that he meant that much organization. I think it's an easy way to jump out of it. He only played there for 5 years. Best WAR was 3.5. He had 111 games, 135 games. I get it, playing both. He led the league in strikeouts one of those years. He never led the league in any other data set. He was a top 10 MVP once. Wasn't a part for any of the big games. And the thing about it, the thing with Bo Jackson, and I will never deny his talent, but that's what we talk about as if it preceded how good he actually was on the field. How good he actually was on the field never touched how talented he was. He had 32 home runs in 1 year. That's awesome. 105 RBIs. But the next highest was 78 and 68. Like, the talent the talent was so much higher than the results.
Yeah.
Than the actual production. He had touched it, and then he had the injuries, and we all know about that. But like, that's where I look at it and go, God, like, like I got a lot of grief for Nolan Ryan with the Nolan Ryan with the Astros and not being on the Astros list. Nolan Ryan was incredible as an Astro. There were some other guys that were better and played their whole careers as Astros and were on have a whole bunch of World Series titles and stuff like that. Like, that meant more to the organization. Maybe like sometimes we sit back and go, Nolan Ryan. Yeah, but this dude played 18 years. Nolan played 9, and they're both Hall of Famers. I mean, there's other conversations. Plus, Nolan Ryan might be on another list, but it's just it's an interesting thing with this organization. When you bring up a Bo Jackson, like it's an argument to be had, but I don't think he means that much. I think it's always like we always look back and go, he's the one that got away.
I think the legend of Bo Jackson is big enough to put him on the Mount Rushmore.
I think the legend of Bo Jackson is a lot bigger than the production of Bo Jackson.
Oh, agreed. There's no question that's the case. But you think Royals, you think Bo. Bo knows Mount Rushmore. All right, we've got a lot of things in on this show. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment. Like I've said the last few weeks, as soon as we get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to give them a rookie baseball card prize pack that would make the owner of the Diamondbacks blush. That's how much I'm going to give away. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment, and we will see you next week. I'm James the Greek. He's DA.